Okay. All right. Okay, so welcome today to this live, and we're going to talk about living a life of potentials. The law of potential is something that has become accessible to us. We've reached enough light where we can hold an exchange in love and light with this law. And we'll start with what the fundamentals are in order to even access the law of potentials. Do you want to start there, or shall I?
Sure.
Go ahead.
So there's so many layers. So we'll just start at the very beginning. So for those of you that have already done the quadrants and the work of the spiral, that is what we would call divine creation. And that is the entry point to the law of potential. So if you already understand giving, receiving, manifesting, and attracting, you're already working within the magic of divine creation. And within that divinity is the law of potentiality. And when it was first downloaded, it was shared as, this is never been said in this way before, but it's going to be as popular as your law of attraction is right now, because at the time where law of attraction first started gaining traction and getting out there, it was one of those things that was, woohoo, and does this really work? And now it's an undeniable thing. It's tangible. There's hundreds and thousands of pieces of evidence of people living the law of attraction life. But what's so interesting is that that's only like a step towards the law of potentiality. And the discovery of that is almost like thinking, wow, I thought I was magical and living this amazing manifestation every day and getting all the things that I want. But I was not factoring in all of the other side, and how manifesting health, for example, can be so linear and, single or in singularity, where if health was a law of potential, how many potentials are there for me to always be in health, and for the planet to always be in health, and for the collective to always be in health, so that there is only a timeline of health. And that just took away from manifesting things for myself or things for my home or things for my relationship or whatever it is, because it's so much bigger than that kind of singularity. And when you talk about creating timelines of health, or creating timelines of abundance, or creating timelines of healing trauma, that's shifting mass potential and allowing mass potential to come in. Because if you are connected to everything as a reflection of source, and you've healed your trauma, then you're creating healed versions of yourself for then other people to tap into their own healing and their own version of healing. And everybody that does this work already knows that you're healing for the timeline. But what if you could create timelines? And that working within the law of potential is just literally giving you 5 different options and playing those scenarios out for you to then align with the 1 or the 2 or the 3 that is best suited for you in your timeline, where your energy is at, where the planet is at, and where the collective is at. So it just opens up this huge bucket of magical stardust information that you kind of know you're connected to anyway. You just haven't used it in the way that it's supposed to be used. But, if you could think of divine creation and divinity as however you embody your own divinity, that's the law of potential. And the whole point of coming into the human experience is not necessarily to relive your timeline over and over again and continue trying to learn the lesson or evolve the lesson, or play out the same scenario from different perspectives. There's a point where it's not just been there, done that. It's your soul has evolved, and the evolvement comes when you are aware that there's potential for something else. Just the awareness to know that there is a timeline that this life could be different. There is a timeline where my reaction, my behavior, my thought patterns have unlimited potential to do something else. There is an opportunity for me to try something new. And whatever that may be is okay. And just the awareness of knowing that the potentials are there is fundamentally enlightening. But it also just opens up this world where it's potentials, like it's unlimited.
Yes.
It's unlimited potential. And the other thing that it's done for me is it's just made the things that I'm doing seem so small and so narrow focused, as opposed to peripheral vision, and like really look at all the potentials that these things can come to you, and in the way that it can come to you. It's not just manifest this, attract this, manifest this, attract this, give this, receive that. It's all of it, always ongoing, and that itself sparks the divine creation of the awareness of law of potential.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Amazing way to put it. And yeah, I would say, like, for me, the fundamental is that you are the creator. The fundamental is that you have access to whatever you desire. Literally, it's whatever you desire. So this law, in order to even access the law of potentials, or to bring forth the infiniteness that is infinite potentials, you must accept that I am the creator of this. It's my desires that is coming through in the multiple ways, or the infinite potentials that are showing up. And with the law of, with the unity currency, spiral, and attracting, giving, manifesting, receiving, that allows you entry into living in the potentials, but it allows you entry because you're exchanging light for light. You're exchanging love for love. You're exchanging joy for joy. It's no longer give and take. It is a full-blown exchange of the energy in which you're bringing forth, for that to then be reflected back to you in the infinite ways that expression can be done. So this understanding of unity currency introduces you and allows you and shows you how you're using your light as your currency. It teaches you how that process is taking place, which is a natural process, which is divine creation. And that it being divine creation now steps you into the infiniteness that divine creation can be expressed. And that's like the fundamental law of potential. So what it's done for me is, as Kat said, it narrowed those, it made you realize where you were really narrow. What it done for me is it made me realize where I was repetitive and where I was playing the same day over and over. And that came very mundane extremely quickly. And I'm at the stage where I'm like, all right, what's new? What's next? What else can I bring? What else can it be? How else can we do this? How else can I play? What else does that look like? What other ways can this show up in the most fun, playful, loving, expansive way for myself, for the collective, for the planet? Because in the unity currency, it aligned me with being the self, the collective, and the planet. And now I'm like, oh, I am creating the timelines for the self, the collective, and the planet because it's me. So my timeline is accessible now to the self, the collective, and the planet. So what is the new, creative, fun, playful, loving ways? And it could be something as simple as a croissant. It doesn't have to be grandiose in any way. It's a very simple thing, right? It's what it is that you desire in that moment, and what is the infinite potential that could be expressed to you of that thing. And going to the same coffee shop, that's amazing, but what other ways can that be expressed? That's where the law of potential really starts showing up, when you start to want and desire those new expressions and new ways and new creations, in the joy of it all.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people will have the question of, okay, so this is just like playing in the quantum field and creating potentials and creating things out of nothing, and, spending time in the quantum. And I thought the same thing, and because that's what I was doing anyway. But then it was explained by our guides and our by Unity Consciousness that it's actually the law of potential is within you. It's in your DNA. It's the makeshift of who you are. So where it says, junk DNA, it's not junk, it's unlimited potential. Mm-hmm. We just don't have measuring tools to measure unlimited potential. So therefore it's unexplainable. It doesn't exist. It's just a nothing, but it's not just a nothing. It's your personal unlimited potential. So as much as the quantum field is a field that is around you, that is the everything and the nothingness, the light and the dark, unlimited potential, imagine all of that in every cell, in every DNA cell in your body, awaiting for your command. So when you have the same thoughts, patterns, and behaviors, it's on repeat. So that DNA cell is recreating itself and recreating itself and recreating that pattern and that behavior over and over again. But if you start to tap into the emptiness, into the nothingness of that cell, which you now know is the law of potential, then that DNA now changes because you've got a new information, you've got new code. Mm-hmm. And then what do you do with that? So it's not necessarily going outside of yourself. There's nowhere to go. Mm-hmm. It's within you. So, if let's just say you've got 1 trillion cells right now in your body. If you had 1 trillion followers on Instagram and you gave them a direction, that would change your life. Or if they gave you unlimited potential back, that would change your life. So what are you waiting for in terms of demanding and commanding, or putting a different thought, or working in co-creation with the unlimited potential that is within you? It's within your frame. It's what you came here to do.
It's you. And yeah, I love that. And with the quantum field being you, it changes the game. It goes to this early on spiritual teaching that I learned, which was like, you have to become it. It's literal. The law of potential, because it's an exchange of light, it's an exchange of energy for energy. This makes that understanding literal. You must become it, so that it is then reflected. And the understanding of the DNA, the understanding of what it's in the cells, this understanding that the quantum field is you, changes the understanding of you must become it to being like, you must embody this thing. You must now embody the essence of what it is that you desire. And how do you do that? Through the attracting, giving, manifesting, receiving, through the unity currency. Because the attraction point is you. The giving of whatever it is you can give unconditionally as a master, that's you. So whether it's love, joy, bliss, freedom, right? That gift, you're giving it to yourself because you're embodying it. That is imprinting what will be manifested. But that imprint is the manifesting part. And the receiving is the opening to the unlimitedness that can be delivered. And so that unlimitedness, or that infiniteness of that delivery mechanism, it could be in massive synchronicities and joy and fun and magic and play. And it can be all of the things you cannot even fathom, because you're open to what is best in this moment in time, not the way that you specifically need it to come because of the picture that you've seen before. And one of the things we started saying to each other really is are you ordering from the menu that already exists, or are you creating something new? And that helped me snap into the idea and the understanding of like, oh, am I creating from the unlimited potentials, or am I just scrolling through and going, yeah, that looks good because I've seen it before? And that's an easy click to go, am I unlimited or am I being limited? And it's not a judgment call. It's not to be hard on yourself if you are being limited. It's to open to the awareness of the limitation that you just put on a potential, to then say, do I still want this limitation, or would I like to expand beyond it? And then that process of becoming happens naturally, because you've just changed the thoughts, the patterns, the behaviors. Because if you recognize that limitation and you want something different, it's very hard to repeat that same thing, because the knowing is that if you repeat the same thing, you're going to get the same outcome. So what could the new potential look like, and what would you need to embody and become and walk as in order for your light to then reflect back to you the infiniteness of anything that you desire?
Yeah, because you may be bound to the things that you are trying to manifest, or in the way that you receive them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might be very limited in receiving. Well, I want to receive, let's just say I want to receive a certain amount of money. But in your mind and in your energy and in your thought patterns, the only way to receive money might be through cash, for example. And if it comes any other way, in terms of a gift, a voucher, or whatever, it's not the actual thing. So where are you limiting yourself in terms of how things are coming to you? Because if you ask for cash, for example, what are the 7,000 million ways that it actually can come to you? And are you open to all of those ways, or do you keep checking your bank account?
And I love cash as an example, because it's so easy for us to not accept from friends, especially like a gift of a meal, a gift of let me buy you a coffee, or let me buy you a drink, or let me treat you to dinner, or join me for lunch, right? It's so easy to be like, oh, no, we can split that, right? It's such an easy way. But again, are you choosing from and this is where that menu question comes in. Are you choosing from the menus that exist because that's what you've always done? Or are you allowing the potential to show up in a way that surprises and delights you, that you did not know it was possible, right? Who knows? There's a potential that exists where that could be free for both you and your friend, right? There's a potential that exists where your friend could pay for it. There's a potential that exists that another friend shows up and then takes care of it. There's a potential that exists that they're just like, you know what, this is on the house. There's a potential that exists, and there's a potential that exists, and there's a potential that exists. And so this is
that you pay with your card, but the actual transaction doesn't go through, or
yes. And so there's a potential, there's a potential, there's a potential. And knowing that there is these potentials, and then allowing for the infiniteness of these potentials to show up in a way that expands, surprises, and delights, that allows you to hold the most light. That is, once that is done once, you've now set a new imprint that exists for everybody on the planet, that exists for the entire collective.
So the whole reason why the law of potential is coming out now, and coming out in this way, is because of the direction of where the planet and the energy is going. It's now time for humanity to take ownership of their potential, and while there's so much light on the planet and people are holding so much more light, they're able to access the law of potentiality in such a easy way, as opposed to not being able to see the potentiality of anything. So that it's here and it's ready. So if you're watching this video in any time, space, reality, that means that you are attracted to knowing or being more aware of the potentialities that exist and working with the law of potential in your life, in your creation, and in your divinity. So it's now. It's not something that has been exposed a lot, and it's because we weren't ready to take that ownership. We weren't ready to command and demand the things that we want. We weren't ready to get out of old behaviors and start new patterns and new behaviors. But the time is now. So that's why it's coming up now, and this is why you have tuned in now.
Yeah. So one last thing I want to add for this is ask. This is something that we learned and has been repeated to us multiple times while accessing the law of potential. Ask and it is given. Ask and it is given. Ask and it is given. Ask. You are the creator. You are steering this path. The potentials are going to show up for you. This is of service to you. You are co-creating for the self, for the collective, for the planet. If you don't ask, it cannot come.
Yeah, it's more like you're just not asking for enough. You're not asking for enough. You're not asking for enough. So sometimes there may be without any awareness, but there's limitation in or justification in what you're asking for. So is that asking in unlimited potential, or is that asking in lack?
Yeah.
And a lot of the times what will come up is your limitation and your lack, because that's all that is holding you back from asking for the things that you want. And what is coming up on the planet and in our timelines right now is only reflecting where humanity is at. I mean, AI is a great example of the technology that is here, which is reflecting who we are and the commands and demands that we want to outlay in order for us to hold more light. And, you know, whatever is happening on the planet is only a reflection of where we're at. So if we've moved through poverty mindset, and we've moved through lack, and we've moved through treating each other as things and not as humans, and we've moved through trusting governments and politicians, and we've moved through being tied down to a job or an education level to, you know, brand us as that's who we are. If we've moved through all of that, there's a reason we've moved through that in different, let's say, bandwidths of light and time. So now that we are able to hold so much more light because we are free from those chains, or from those attraction points, or from those maybe ancestral lineage, or whatever that may be, you've now moved into a lighter framework. So it's time to ask for more, because all we were asking for before is a better life for my children, or for a better life, or to be healed, and for a better life, and for a better life. And now it's, you have the better life. You're not living how they lived in the 1900s, for example. You're living how you're living now, with the greatest form of technology, which is the human body, and everything around it reflects who you are. I mean, free energy is not something new, because you are free energy. So if you are the unit of free energy, if you are the unit of development of AI, then are you using your technology to your unlimited potential? And then what would that look like in your everyday life? And so when you think of, am I asking for enough? The answer is always no, because there's always another layer. And remember, when you're asking for creating timelines of free energy, when you're asking for creating timelines of a place where you don't need healthcare, because everybody is healthy, and our foods are supported in natural resources that is so highly nutritional value that it shifts your vibration immediately, and that there's gift and light exchange on every human interaction, and everybody is seen for the purpose that they are here to serve, not judged for the purpose that they are here to serve. So if you can start to expand on your asking, it just puts you in a different perspective and in creator mode, as opposed to attraction mode, because you are already the attraction point.
Yeah.
So if you're already the attraction point, you can already attract whatever it is that you desire. Then what else is there? Because it's fine to stay there and to be attracting all the time and manifesting all the time. Amazing. But there has to be more, and that more is giving you the awareness of the unlimited potentials in everything and in every aspect that you can possibly imagine in this life experience.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So to sum this up, it's no matter where you're at, there's expansion, and expanding into the infiniteness of potentials is living a life of potentials. It's allowing any and all potentials that can exist of any one thing to show up for you, to serve you in co-creation with you. And in that knowing, what is it that you want? What is it that you're
some
asking
people
for?
can get stuck, or I feel an energy of stuck, where they don't have examples of people, getting what they want and getting everything that they want. There's always, there's a storyline, or she has the best life, or he has the best life, but really behind the scenes they're depressed and they're on drugs and or this or that. And so they don't have living examples. And so what's coming to me now is the examples are the people before us were the examples. So let's look at saints. Let's look at the gods and goddesses and what they portrayed, how the timeline that they held, because a lot of them weren't in human form for hundreds and thousands of years. It was a short human experience, yet their story and their timeline moved on, because held on, because of how much light and how much of a shift in perspective humanity came to when hearing about these stories. So think of those as your examples, as opposed to people in your everyday life, because you can't compare yourself, you can't compare your light to somebody else's light, because you're a different person, you're a different journey, you're here for a different reason. So your amount that you can ask for, or the potentials that you can ask for, will be different, just like our asks are different. Even though sometimes our wants and our desires can be very similar, the way in which we receive them is completely different, because we're open to different things and our levels of limitation is different. So use Mother Mary, Jesus, Buddha, use Isis and Sekhmet and Yeshua, Saint Germain, Angel Raphael. Use those energies as your examples of divinity.
Merlin. Like the list, there's a long list of those. And
now is the time when the angelic world, or the ethereal world, is so close in light and in vibration that you're only an ask away from connecting, if you haven't started connecting already. I was doing a reading the other day for someone, and Michael and Raphael kept coming through as angels, and this person didn't believe in the angels, didn't even know who they were. And then she messaged me a couple of days later saying that in her son's room, the only two Ninja Turtles he has is Raphael and Michael. And I'm like, okay, so those are his angels. And in that angelic, or in that energy, it's surrounding him in that way. But there was a real close connection to those two angels in the home. So it's just to show that that's just another example of how close the angels are to us right now, and they're guiding us, because there's never been this level of light on the planet right now, and there's never been this many humans with so much light and expansion at the same time. So it's like each of us don't just have one or two angels with us all the time now. We have a team of angels that are pushing putting things in place for us to get us through to the next expansion round. Because as we expand, the planet expands, unity consciousness expands, and so do they, because angels that are assigned to you are not assigned sometimes for life. They're assigned for periods of growth and expansion for themselves and for you as a soul.
Yeah.
And that's how you evolve. So use them and your connection to them, which would be really, really, really good right now, as your symbols or signs of asking for more and what you want to ask for. Because if you look at your next door neighbor and they have a Mercedes, so you want a Mercedes, you're ordering from the menu. Like, what else can you create? And if that is your greatest desire, amazing. But what else is there after you get the Mercedes, and what else is next, and what else is next? And use that light as the driver, use the angelic energy as the driver for what you're asking for next.
And this is the Michelangelo and Raphael, the Ninja Turtles, being in your room. There's this idea that the humanness is not spiritual in a way, and
I mean, they try to connect you in any way possible that
I was just about to say
you will receive it.
There is not
how you will receive it.
It's all about how you're open to receiving it. They will show up through whatever means, because you are angelic in itself. You are a divinity. You are divine. This whole experience is a divine created experience. So there is nothing that is not divine. It's either all divine or it's not. You can't have half and half. So it's all a divine creation, and it's all for your greatest expansion. It's all in service. And playing in the humanness, like, yes, the car is amazing, but what other things can you create and have fun being that human that gets to create whatever they want and have the car show up in 1,200 different other ways, right? The Raphael, Michelangelo Ninja Turtle, that's a new way for someone to see a Ninja Turtle. That's a completely different understanding of what an angelic presence is even supposed to be. But it's still an angelic presence in the home that's divine. So that's a whole new potential that we never experienced before. Can you open to a new potential that you've never experienced before and have fun being here? The life of potentials is
maybe one of your unlimited potentials, or what you want to ask for, is to see angelic evidence, or to see and connect with an angel that you are mostly connected with. Or whatever that may be for you in terms of connection. But that's something to ask for that would step yourself into an expanded version of yourself, which might not be what you normally do.
Yeah, and this, we're walking as masters now. We're elevated to a level of light where we access the law of potential. We're exchanging our light as our currency, and using our light as our currency. It doesn't get more divine than that.
Yeah.
And you still get to play. And so play, have fun, and allow the potentials to just show up in the highest love, the highest light, in your divinity, and let it be magical, and create, and that's for everything you desire.
So if you want to take one thing away from this video, is that there is the law of potential that does exist. It's come to us now in this time of light and high vibrational experience for humanity. And every time you're asking for something and manifesting and attracting, the next question is, what are the unlimited potentials that this can come to fruition? And what are the unlimited potentials that I can ask for? Just add that into your awareness, and it will be the most expansive exercise that you can have.
Yes. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.